Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the invisible, split-second cognitive processing that absolutely defines the most elite moments in sports. You know, when we watch our favorite athletes pull off those seemingly impossible feats, we naturally obsess over their physical prowess. I mean, we've all been there, right? Spilling our drinks, jumping up off the couch to celebrate a crazy play, completely oblivious to the intense mental math that just went down on the field. But what if I told you the true magic isn't actually happening in their muscles, but in their minds? Let's get into it.
Picture a quarterback dropping back to pass in a championship game. He's got 300-pound linemen sprinting at him with literally terrifying speed, receivers running highly complex routes, and a defense actively trying to trick him. In mere milliseconds, under immense physical danger, he has to process all of that, make a flawless decision, and execute a physical throw. So what actually happens in the brain to make that possible? What separates a good player who gets sacked from a legend who throws the game-winning touchdown?
Section 1. The mind behind the muscle. To figure that out, we really have to shift our focus from the visible action on the field to the hidden microscopic mechanics of the athlete's mind. We're basically dismantling that old dumb jock stereotype right here. Now, on the physical side, we measure traditional stuff: speed, strength, agility. But on the cognitive side, we're evaluating processing speed, memory, and attention. And the research is super clear on this. Once you reach the pro level, pretty much everyone is a physical freak of nature. The true differentiator, the actual game changer that catapults a player from the bench to the Hall of Fame, is their cognitive processing power.
Section 2. What is working memory?
Let's zero in on the specific mental machinery required for these massive, high-stakes decisions. It starts with working memory capacity. By definition, this is the cognitive system responsible for temporarily holding, processing, and manipulating information during complex tasks. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like your computer's RAM. If your computer has low RAM and you open up way too many heavy applications, what happens? It freezes. It lags. Elite athletes just have massively upgraded RAM. They can run multiple heavy applications simultaneously, tracking a moving ball, calculating a defender's speed, recalling a 50-page playbook, all without their brain lagging for even a fraction of a second.
And the data on this is wild. When you compare novice athletes to elite experts, the pros score significantly higher on working memory capacity tests. It's not even close. They literally possess a structurally superior capacity to hold multiple dynamic variables in their minds at the exact same time.
And hey, we aren't just guessing here. This is heavily grounded in rigorous academic research. The Cambridge Handbook of Expertise and Expert Performance puts it perfectly. They note that experts possess superior working memory that allows them to bypass basic capacity limits. That's a profound statement. It means superior memory isn't just some nice-to-have bonus trait. It is a measurable, definitive hallmark of true sporting expertise. They are physically bypassing the cognitive limits that restrict the rest of us.
Section 3. Filtering out the noise.
But here's the catch. Having a ton of room to hold information doesn't really help if your brain gets clogged up with junk data. That is where attention control comes in. The absolute best athletes in the world use attention control to actively suppress irrelevant noise. Think about an elite point guard taking a game-winning free throw. Their brain is actively muting the screaming away crowd, completely suppressing the burning fatigue in their legs, and totally ignoring the guy in the front row waving a giant foam finger. They are intentionally locking out the irrelevant so their working memory can focus purely on the mechanics of the shot.
So the anatomy of this split-second decision breaks down into a rapid four-step cognitive loop. Step 1. Scan the environment. Step 2. Access working memory to compare current patterns against years of past experience. Step 3. Filter out the distractions. And Step 4. Execute the precise motor function. In a live game, an athlete is just running through this loop constantly. Scan, access, filter, execute. Over and over. It's a rapid-fire loop happening faster than you can even blink.
And how fast are we talking? 200 milliseconds. That is the staggering, microscopic time frame an elite athlete often has to execute that entire four-step loop. Just let that sink in for a second. 200 milliseconds to scan a totally chaotic field, dig into years of playbook memory, ignore 80,000 screaming fans, and then physically coordinate the exact muscle tension in their arm to throw a perfect pass. It is an absolute triumph of human biology. No way around it.
Section 4. The rise of predictive analytics. Okay, so if front offices and coaches know this is what dictates success, how is the industry adapting? Well, we are fully in the era of drafting for brains, not just brawn. Historically, scouts stood on the sidelines with clipboards and stopwatches, strictly evaluating how fast a guy could run the 40-yard dash, right? But knowing that cognitive limits are what actually cause players to bust at the pro level, modern organizations have evolved. They are heavily using predictive cognitive analytics to measure a player's mind before handing out a $100 million contract.
Today's sports scientists basically build predictive models using three main pillars. We definitely still rely on physical metrics, combine times, sheer strength, all that, and we absolutely look at historical data like past performance and injury history, but the real game changer is that middle pillar, cognitive metrics. Teams are standardizing working memory tests, tracking attention spans, and scoring rapid decision-making. By combining all three, they create an incredibly holistic, predictive profile of a player's future success.
The organizational benefits of this shift are just massive. First off, it identifies hidden cognitive talent, that player who might look a step slow physically on tape, but actually processes the game 3 steps faster than everyone else. Second, it reduces insanely expensive draft busts. Third, it allows coaches to tailor very specific cognitive training regimens to individual players. And finally, it actually predicts career longevity. Players whose game relies heavily on brainpower almost always outlast those who rely purely on decaying physical speed.
Section 5. Upgrading your brain. Now you might be wondering, can we actually change this? Can we train our brains to be faster? There's a really fascinating tension here between innate baseline talent and deliberate cognitive practice. The science is totally impartial on this. Yes, everyone is born with an innate baseline working memory capacity. Some people are just naturally gifted with a larger cognitive RAM right out of the box. However, through deliberate cognitive practice, athletes learn to do something called chunking. They group complex, chaotic pieces of information into single, recognizable patterns. So while they might not technically be increasing their absolute memory capacity, they are dramatically increasing their efficiency. They are effectively upgrading their brain's processing power through relentless, highly targeted practice, which leaves us with this final, profound thought. Are we entering an era where the mind is trained just as rigorously as the body? As sports science continues to decode these cognitive predictors of expert performance, it's becoming crystal clear that the final frontier of human athletic potential isn't in the weight room at all, it's in the brain. The legends of tomorrow won't just outrun their opponents, they are going to outprocess them. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this completely changes how you watch your next game. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.